So yeah, with the firing of Lindsey Buckingham from Fleetwood Mac recently, and the rumoured it's Stevie Nicks' fault all happening lately, it's probably not the best time to review this album. But I'm gonna do it anyway. So hello and yes, welcome back to another album review, guys. Now before we get started, just want to say, yeah, crap lighting, that's because I'm filming it late, this video late in the evening, which I very rarely do because I know that the lighting isn't great in here. But unfortunately, busy schedule, unfortunately I just got to do it tonight. But hey ho, that's fine. So yeah, we're going to do our review of this album today. Buckingham Nicks by, of course, Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. So in this review, I'm going to do the usual. I'm going to give you a bit of information on the album. We're going to go over each track individually, mark each track individually out of 10, show you my copy of the vinyl record, mark the artwork for this album out of 10, and we're going to have all those scores for the 10 tracks and then the 11th score for the album artwork, and divide it by 11, and that's going to give us an overall marking for this album out of 10. So anyway, let's get started. So this album was released on the 5th of September 1973, charting in at number 28 in the US, and of course not at all here in the UK, which is no surprise. These are two artists who were virtually unknown at the time. And a little bit of background history in America, of course, them both being American. Here in the UK, of course, nothing yet. I mean, when they associate themselves with Fleetwood Mac, of course, being originally a British band, yeah, you could see why they all of a sudden came through very well in terms of popularity there, but here in the UK, at this point, nothing, of course, as expected. So they made this album after they left their first band, which was called the Fritz. Rabewine. I'm probably butchering that name. I apologise. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that horribly wrong. But anyway, this album was just created on a whim. They pretty much just went into the studio, done it. To be fair, it sounds really good, and the production on this album sounds really good considering they were unknowns virtually. The album cover, which is one of the most talked about things to do with this album because of the controversialness of it, of them being naked, pretty much, on the cover, or topless. One of the most talked about things about it. Interesting enough, that was Lindsey's idea, and Stevie was not happy about that. She still does not like this album cover. It was Lindsey and a photographer, Jimmy Watchtell, I believe is how you pronounce it. Yes, it was their idea to do that album cover. The album consists of 10 tracks, 9 of which are originals. There's only one cover, and that's Django, which is the 7th song, which is by a guy called John Lewis originally, not the UK Retail Shop. There's an actual guy out there called John Lewis who's a musician, and it's just a short instrumental basically. But anyway, we'll get to that one in a bit. So let's get started. So the opening track on here is Crying in the Night, which is a really nice acoustic opening song. It sets the tone to this album really well, which is really good. So Stevie sings lead on this one, and she sounds fantastic. She sounds absolutely brilliant. Lindsey also sounds great when he comes in to back up. And, one of the things that I want to stress about this album is how well they harmonise together. Because we had this album only last year. I believe it was last year. Lindsey Buckingham and Christine McVie. And they don't harmonise at all. They like take it in turns to do a song, which I think is the worst way to do a duet album. Harmonise together. Do your vocals together. I love it. Because even though Stevie sings lead here, they both harmonise together in the chorus and they sound fantastic together. That's why this is such a better album than this one. But anyway, really good lyrics, basically about a woman who feels a man has chosen the wrong woman to be with. So the lyrics kind of hint that maybe this woman, who Stevie is in the person of singing, maybe actually she's the one who likes the guy, kind of like that. So I kind of like the lyrics, they're kind of cool. But yeah, it's a good song. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So then we move on to another track called Stephanie, which is a slower song. Classic Lindsey guitar playing here. It's great. I love it. Of course, we all know Lindsey so well today. His guitar playing, especially on his solo albums, which you can see down here, his guitar playing is unique. It's fantastic. He's probably the most underrated guitarist I could think of off the top of my head. And of course, it shone through in Fleetwood Mac as well. This is really the first time people got to hear that classic guitar style that Lindsey chooses to play in a lot. And that's why I really like this song. It's an amazing song. It's you know, it's an instrumental. It's really good. Instrumentals need to keep flowing and keep moving, and this song does that through the guitar playing. Guitar playing gets a tad repetitive near the end, but that's when the background, you know, keyboard and there's some strings, I believe, there as well come in to help keep it going well, and the production on this song really shines through really well. I'm going to give this song a 7 out of 10. And then we got Without a Leg to Stand On, which is another Lindsey song, but this one actually has him singing on. So this is the first time we get to hear Lindsey's vocals properly. And he sings really well, of course, really well. Lindsey's always been a good vocalist on studio albums. And of course, going back to his first proper studio album, of course, he's going to sound good. He sounds very good. So awesome vocals from Lindsey. And again, Stevie also does exactly what Lindsey did for Stevie in Crying in the Night, where he comes in the chorus and helps her out, and it's great. Lyrics are, you know, not quite as good as the opening track, but they're still pretty good. It's an enjoyable song. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Then we got Crystal, which is a much slower song, with Lindsey again on lead. Some nice lyrics about a man basically finding love. But he kind of... he doesn't actually sing like he's finding love. He kind of uses other ways to talk about him finding love, like he's on a river, there's some mountains and stuff like that. I mean, you know, I'm sure you've heard the song. If you're watching this review, you've heard the song. I haven't analysed the lyrics completely, but you guys know that he sings about going down a river and stuff like that, so it's kind of metaphorical, what he's doing here, which is really cool. And again, I like how Stevie comes in to back him up again. It's a really nice sounding song. I like this one a lot. It's very enjoyable. The flow of it is really good. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So then we move on to Long Distance Winner, which closes side 1, which is Back to Stevie. I really like how she opened side 1 and then closed it. I really like that. That's cool. So she's on lead vocals again. Very cool sounding song with really nice guitar work on it. I don't know what instrument is playing alongside the guitar on this one. It sounds like one of those things you used to get in school where it used to be just like a zigzagged bit of wood. You used to just rub a stick along it. Sounds like something like that going along with the guitar. I'm not sure what it is. I couldn't quite work it out, but it sounds fantastic with the guitar. Really cool. And yeah, Lindsey's guitar solo. This is the first proper Lindsey guitar solo as well that's out there, I think. And I'm sure he'd probably done a couple with his last band. But, you know, this is where most people tend to start with Lindsey, Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. So it's his first proper guitar solo because he didn't do any guitar solo on the other 4 tracks. Sounds amazing. Great. I think the song goes on a tad too long, but other than that, it's really good. 7 out of 10. Okay, so now we're moving on to side 2, where it opens up with my favourite track on this album, Don't Let Me Down Again. And I have like this compilation. I don't know whether it's on my actual phone with all my music on or whether it's on my Spotify, but I have like a Fleetwood Mac / solo Fleetwood Mac best of. So I've got my favourite Fleetwood Mac songs in there and my favourite Lindsey and Stevie songs on. And this song's in there. I love this song. So it's very different sounding, very catchy. This tune on the guitar that's created, it's just fantastic. I love it. Lindsey and lead vocals here is great. Stevie comes in as well, like the perfect timing again. Their timing here is perfect. It's incredible, which is so. And the lyrics are quite simple, but it doesn't really affect the listening much, to be honest, because it's just such a good sounding song. It's structured so well. The production's great. Has another cool guitar solo. I'm gonna give this song a 9 out of 10. This is a great song. I really enjoy it. Then we got the song Django, which, as I said, is a cover by a guy, not a shop, named John Lewis. It's an instrumental. It's very short. It's just under a minute. Lindsey, classic guitar style here. Fantastic. It sounds absolutely incredible. I love the slight backing strings on here as well. I'm going to give it a 6 because it is good. I do enjoy it. It's just way too short. I don't know whether the original version of this song was this short. Probably was. I would be lying if I said I'd heard the original version of this song. I wish it was longer. It's, you know, very forgettable purely because of its length. So 6 out of 10. Then we got a track called Races Are Run. Don't think that makes sense. I don't think it does. But anyway, another Stevie lead vocal song. And it's a nice paced song with the drums having the most presence they've had throughout this album. Of course, you know, neither of these two play drums, so the drums shouldn't really have a massive presence. Of course, you want the singing, the vocals, and the guitar to have the most presence because that's what these two do. But, you know, it's nice to have another instrument having a bit more of a presence here, which sets the song aside to all the others, gives it a bit more character, I find. So the drums do a good job here. And yeah, it's Lindsey comes in well again in the chorus, again the vocals between them, it's just, they're perfectly balanced, it's really well done. The production on this one's good. I'm going to give this song a 7. It's, again, just an enjoyable song, I enjoy it. Then we got Lola, My Love. So, no, it's not a cover of the Kinks, Lola. And again, typical, but great. Lindsey, guitar, playing. It's just fantastic. I love it. But he only really does it at the start of the song, and boom, it just flips up and changes, and then you can tell, okay, this is a 70s song, which I like. It sounds really good. Simple lyrics again, fun and simple chorus. There's just not much to dislike here either. 7 out of 10. And then we close with a track called Frozen Love, which is quite a long song, especially for this album. You know, because all the songs on here are kind of typically lengthed, but this one sounds quite. This one's quite long. Lead vocals are Lindsey, and then they kind of hit a chorus, and they both gel together. And then Stevie does the next chorus, and it's kind of a back and forth, which I love. It's fantastic. This is the best song for them two in terms of harmonising together, which is great because they've nailed it so far, really. So they work so well on this track. It's the best blending of vocals, absolutely, on the chorus as well. The guitar sounds great. Another great solo in here as well. Guitar solo sounds fantastic. And everything about this song sounds really, really good. I am also going to give this song a 9 out of 10. Very, very solid song. Great closing track. Great. In fact, in terms of albums that Stevie and Lindsey have both worked on, it might be the best closing track they've had on an album, maybe. Thinking about I really have to think about that, actually. Yeah, anyways, let's take a quick look at my copy of the vinyl record here. This is a US pressing, because this album's rare enough in the US, but then try and find one in the UK, even harder. I don't think this has been reissued. They really should reissue it so people can actually get hold of this album because it's so good, so underrated. It really is as close to Rumours and the self-titled Fleetwood Mac as you can get, I think, with Lindsey and Stevie. So I think people who haven't yet heard this album would really dig it. You've got Rumours and self-titled Fleetwood Mac, the classics, and then I think this is as close as you can get to it. It's just great. So yeah, the cover, you know what? It's not a bad cover because I think it's actually become quite iconic in the Fleetwood Mac community. It's quite nice. They just flip it on the back, but I love this psychedelic look. I actually wish they went with this cover more, I think. Psychedelic looks really cool. One thing that always bugs me about this is you don't have the track listing on the back. You've just got some information. Then yeah, here's the record on Polydor. And my copy is in very, very nice condition, I must say. As you can see there, get the light on it. So yeah, I've put down here the artwork for a 7 out of 10. It's probably being a bit generous, but hey ho, you know what? I don't mind. I'm in a generous mood. I played this album only this morning, which is why I decided to review it, and really enjoyed it. So I don't mind being a bit generous to it. So I've added all of those scores up, divided it by 11, and out of 10, this album is gonna get a 7.5. Camera's gone really blurry all of a sudden. Come on, camera, come on. There we go. So yeah, it's a 7.5 for Buckingham Nicks. This is far superior to this album. I know that some people really disagree with me, and I have reviewed this album if you want to check it out. And I got a bit of flack when I reviewed this album. I was personally very disappointed with this album. I'm sorry to the people that enjoyed it. It isn't a bad album, but I was very disappointed with that album. This is what I wanted. I wanted this part 2, obviously, with Christine McVie there instead. This album is far superior. It's a lot more enjoyable. Everything about this album is better. And this is nearly 40 years older. Go figure. But anyway, that is it for this review, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it as always. Please hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a message, and I will see you guys next time for another video. Bye-bye.